You're listening to the Jonesy and Amanda podcast.
Well, yesterday on our show, Emma Gillespie, who is the editor of the Daily Oz, who's our pop culture entertainment guru, she spoke about the rift between Brooklyn Beckham and his parents. And this is a thing that a lot of adults are now doing. This is something that Oprah Winfrey's been talking about, Mel Robbins, all those self-help kind of gurus. And TikTok is big on this, is people, grown-ups, going no contact with their parents, breaking up, divorcing their parents. Parents are often left saying, what have I done? And these grown children are saying, you know very well we've spoken about this for 20 years. So it's fascinating to see this playing out with the Beckhams, who, as we said yesterday, have curated their family narrative very carefully. Well, we spoke about bits and pieces as to where the feud began. One of the things was that on the wedding, leading up to his wedding, his bride, Nicola Peltz, didn't choose Victoria Beckham to make her wedding dress. That was one of the stories. Another one,
Victoria, she's good on the faff.
She's great on the Husqvarna. You just ask her. She'll whip you up something with a butterick pattern like that.
Imagine that. She's at home.
She's at Spotlight. She's going through with the materials.
Well, is the butterick pattern, is that a cardboard thing? With all the checkers on it, and when you measure out your bit of fabric.
And I remember showing Mum pictures in magazines that I want to look like this, and she said, I'll get a pattern for that. And you know you're going to look like an 80-year-old.
It's like when your mum says, we have McDonald's at home.
Yes. But there are a couple of stories also that, let's see what Brooklyn Beckham has said, because overnight he has released on his socials a damning statement where he has come out saying that his family are not as they seem. And this is a man who's fighting to not be labelled, as you called him yesterday, Brendan, a no-talent Nepo baby. The narrative is that he has a very powerful partner who's from a very rich family.
Yep.
She's an heiress. That he is being led along and he's lost his manliness and he's being taken over by her and her family. And he's saying this is not the truth.
Well, the kid swung from the money tree to another money tree.
Let me read to you what he has said. I've been silent for years and made every effort to keep these matters private. Unfortunately, my parents and their team have continued to go to the press, leaving me with no choice but to speak for myself and tell the truth about only some of the lies that have been printed. I do not want to reconcile with my family. I'm not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life. For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. The performative social media posts, family events and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of the life I was born into. Recently, I've seen with my own eyes the lengths they will go through to place countless lies in the media, mostly at the expense of innocent people, to preserve their own facade. But I believe the truth always comes out. My parents have been trying endlessly to ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. My mum cancelled making Nicola's dress in the 11th hour, despite how excited she was to wear her design, forcing her to urgently find a new dress weeks before our big day.
But the narrative was that Nicola said she didn't want to wear the posh dress.
Her. The story goes on. There's bits here that it's extraordinary reading. The night before our wedding, members of my family told me that Nicola was, quote, not blood and not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I've received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that was sent to the press on their orders. Even my brothers were sent to attack me on social media before they ultimately blocked me out of nowhere last summer. Listen to this bit. This is the bit we'd heard, that the mum took the first dance at the wedding. He said, my mum hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance to a romantic love song. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Anthony called me to the stage, wherein the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife.
Yeah.
Instead, my mum was waiting to dance with me. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life. No, there's no video that we know of. We wanted to renew our vows so we could recreate memories of our wedding day that bring us joy and happiness, not anxiety and embarrassment. It just keeps going. My wife has been consistently disrespected by my family. My mum has repeatedly invited women from my past into our lives in ways that were clearly intended to make us both uncomfortable. Goes on and on. But this is how it kind of wraps up here. My family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family, quote, love is decided by how much you post on social media or how quickly you drop everything to show up and pose for a family photo op. even if it's at the expense of your professional obligations. We've gone out of our way for years to show up and support at every fashion show, every party, every press activity to show our perfect family.
Wow.
I
tell you, folks, it's harder than it looks.
The narrative that my wife controls me is backwards. I've been controlled by my parents for most of my life. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. For the first time in my life since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. It's extraordinary. It sounds like Prince Harry, but with Prince Harry, who stood up for his wife, saying you're painting the wrong picture here. But with Harry, you appreciate there's a strong family narrative.
Yeah, but still, his kid's going to do all right, though, isn't he? Really?
But it's not about that. Listen to this is just a guy trying to make good. It's not about how much money's in your bank account. Really, I really feel for him because this is a family who appearance is everything. Royal family, you get. They have a structure that the whole world understands.
Yeah, but the Beckhams are like the royals.
Well, he's saying it's fake. He's saying it's curated and it's harsh and it's not real.
So what are you, team, what's the old mate's name? Brooklyn? Or team Beckhams?
I like the Beckhams, but this is fascinating.
Must have them round sometime.
This
I'll break out the faff.
Fascinating.
It is, this is something we could put to the pub test for the first time in 2026. We'll do that a little bit later on.
Maybe we will.